Hey, um, oh, hi everyone. So I gave this talk in 2022 at APNA. So if you were there, you probably heard it already. It's very similar. I've given it other times as well now. So it is a popular topic, it seems. And the good news is in 2022, when I gave it at APNA, for many of you, I had just launched it. So this is something I did during COVID to change how my agency ran. I was really concerned about what was happening during COVID, like everyone was, and I wanted to take the time to develop a new way to do business. And this is what I came up with. Um, Keep in mind, I'm in Canada. A lot of the things I've done have to do with Canadian law and how we can do things here. So if I say something where you're like, that's not allowed, I'm in Canada. It might be different in the US or wherever else you are. I know there's people from all over. So just keep that in mind when I'm talking. You really should look at your laws where you live. I'm going to try and go through this portion as quickly as possible because I found when I give these talks, people have lots of questions. So this is just kind of the outline. And then when you have specific questions, we can drill down into what your concerns or things you don't understand are, and I can answer all those questions. But feel free feel free to ask kind of as we go along. With that said, I'll just jump right into it. So I own Nannies on Call. I started it in 2001. And at the time, we started with a model of $13 an hour, which now seems insane. And the agency took $4 an hour of that. So that's how we did business. I kind of wanted to give you an outline of how we've got to where we are today. And some of you might do things in the ways we've done them over the last 20 years. So then you can see how we went from that to where we are now. So that part was crazy. That's how we started. A lot of agencies back then did it that way. I think a few agencies still do it that way. All our nannies are independent contractors, so they file their own taxes. We are not their employer. We can do that in Canada. It is totally legal. So the pros were people only saw one fee, so that was a big benefit. Families only saw the 13 an hour, and I do see some agencies still posting that way, and families come to us and we're like, well, they're only 20 an hour. It's like, well, but they're taking a cut of what the nannies are getting paid. So that is a benefit because clients only see the one fee. The cons were sometimes the nannies were collecting all the money on our behalf, and sometimes they just went MIA. We work with a lot of nannies from Australia and England, and they would just return home and not pay us our cut. So that was for us not great. And the other thing was clients couldn't pay by credit card. That has been a problem for us for a very long time. I know Stripe and Square and other companies have made it a lot easier for agencies to accept credit cards, but back in 2001, that just wasn't possible. So then we started expanding and we expanded to other cities. So we weren't just in Vancouver, which is where I started, Vancouver, BC. So we expanded to other cities. It wasn't really working as well because you had to meet up with nannies to get the money, and I just couldn't have that many people in that many cities. So then we changed to agency fee plus nanny rate. And that I learned at APNA, actually. A lot of agencies in the US were doing it that way. So that's the model where we were charging like a $30 agency fee, and then the families paid the nannies directly. So the pros were nannies always got paid because they were there with the family. But the cons were it was really expensive for us to run. We had lots of office staff, lots of hand holding for the clients, and the clients were still paying by cash or check. And so that was really challenging. We got a lot of feedback from clients. I had at that time a call center. So we were open 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And that took 5 staff to run, to take all the calls, all the handholding, all the changes to appointments, the cancellation of appointments, the nannies calling because they can't find the location, whatever it is, you all know, you've dealt with all of it. And so that was getting really, really challenging because we were in 5 cities across Canada and it was just too much to manage with a call center. We had technology at that time, I should say. So we had a database system. We had a lot of functions where you could email the client the confirmation, the nanny the confirmation. There was a lot of automation, but it was still expensive to run. It wasn't that easy. Okay. So, See, pain points. So we've been a leader in Canada since 2001, and I felt like we weren't really a leader anymore. A lot of other agencies had come up behind us and they were doing things in Canada exactly like we were. So they literally had copied. And when I mean copied our plans, copied the rates, copied what they were called. Like it, it was starting to be difficult to stay ahead of the crowd. And although I felt like we had better expertise, better knowledge, lots of years of doing this, families didn't see that when they went to one website or the other. So we needed some way to differentiate ourselves from other agencies. I also feared about getting passed by new competitors. Care.com's a horrible example, but they have lots of money, lots of technology, and again, parents don't always see the difference between an agency like ours, where you're doing all the pre-screening, all the background checking, making sure nannies have everything before they're sent, so it's really safe, to a technology company. And there are more and more technology companies. Over the years, people come to me all the time and they're like, oh, did you see the new website that's up? There's an article in the newspaper and it says it's the Uber of childcare. Are you worried? I'm like, I'm not worried because they've never done childcare before. They're a tech company. But that said, I was worried about someone coming up and doing this in a better, faster, more technology-based way, which is obviously the way the world was going. Our customer service department was large and expensive to run. Again, 5 staff, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week is pricey. And that was really challenging. Also, getting good customer service staff was also challenging, and a lack of self-service. Although we did have the ability to book online, we did have some features. Families couldn't contact nannies. They had to go through the agency for everything, which is why we had so much customer service. So I wanted to change some of that. So here's where we're at now. So the last model is probably the model most of you run, with the membership fee and then the per hour to the nanny. But why look at reoccurring memberships or a subscription-based business? We tend to say subscription-based is what we use as the terminology for our clients. So what are the benefits? So I switched to subscription-based business during COVID. So that's really important to say as you all sit here trying to decide how to move forward with your business. In Canada, we shut down for 18 months. We had no service to clients of our on-call service. We also run a placement service. So that placement service was still running, but the on-call service, sending nannies to different homes, was closed for 18 months. There were a couple months in there that we probably could have opened legally, but we just didn't feel comfortable with it. There were so many companies on the news being called out for spreading COVID. And I didn't want to be like the nanny agency who had nannies going to different houses and started spreading COVID. So we just shut down for 18 months. So that gave me the benefit of restructuring how we do business and then opening again when we opened, with a whole new process that families either had to jump on board with or not. So I did have that benefit. I do want to make that clear. So when I looked into the subscription model, the things that attracted me were, it's a pay-as-you-go model. So your constant need to attract and convert customers in turn to earn revenue is easier once they subscribe. And I think you all, we're going to get to this in a little bit, but once you subscribe to something like Netflix, if you don't watch Netflix for a month, you don't go in and cancel it. It just runs on, like, it just charges your credit card. And so these clients are getting charged month after month after month, whether they use it or not. Now, some clients do cancel, but most of the clients just have it running in the background without thinking about it. So when they do need childcare, it's there at their fingertips. That's the key. So they make payments on a regular basis, and that for us is all set up through Stripe. I'll talk a little bit about technology later, but it's really easy now just to have this reoccurring payment, and there's no gaps in billing cycles. So you can see in Stripe, exactly how much we're going to make this month with the amount of customers we have, and you can see that number constantly. So you know exactly how much you're making. With the pay the agency fee, if a client used us 4 times one month and then 0 times the next month, we didn't make any money the next month. And so this reoccurring model is I found really helpful and consistent revenue. Okay, did I miss? I think hang on 2 secs. I missed one. I have notes here and I missed one slide. So I'm going to go back to that. I apologize. So the subscription business. So a customer subscribes to your service. It's the same as Netflix, Dollar Shave Club. I mean, Instacart, any of those ones that you're all subscribed to all the time. We all have them and they're all running in the background constantly, whether you forget to cancel or you just don't want to because it's convenient to have a subscription to that business so that when you need it, you can log on. That's what it is. The price is fixed for clients, and that's another benefit. You know, when they were paying the $30 or $33 agency fee, if we upped our rates, they had to pay that price. But what we do is when they sign up for the subscription, if they pay for a year, they're now locked in at that price for the entire year. So we currently have 3 levels of subscription. We have monthly, so that's the $99 a month. We have 3 months, $247, and we have 1 year, $797. The $797 obviously is the best deal by far, but you will be shocked to learn how many people, because of cash flow, I'm guessing, pay the $100 a month and pay $1,200 a year. Most of our clients are paying $100 a month. It's just easier for them. They sign up at that rate. The smallest number is the yearly and the middle is the middle. It just worked out that way. I'll talk a little bit later about a new level we're going to be offering next year. So it's important to remember in the subscription model for the nannies, what we are offering is access to a pool of pre-screened nannies. That's really important. And it was really hard for families to get their heads around at the beginning who had been using our service in the past. So in the past, they call in, they make an appointment. If we don't find a nanny, there's no charge. But we were still working, right? We were still working to find them a nanny and we didn't get paid for that. So now we screen all the nannies, we put them in a pool in the database that the families have access to, which I'll explain a little more later. And that's what they're paying for. They are not paying for the guarantee of getting a nanny. So that's really important in the nanny world. They are paying for access to the pool. Think of, and I hate to keep using this example, but think of care.com. It's cheaper than what we're charging. I think in Canada, they charge around $40 a month, but there's no screening. So for $40 to have no screening or pay $99 for full screening of the nannies, I think there's value there. And so that's the thing we kept educating clients on in the beginning. You're paying for access. That's what they're paying for. So that's important. The clients can cancel at any time without penalty. That is a benefit to them as well. They can like if their subscription ends on October 31st, they can cancel on the 30th. We don't make them cancel a month in advance. As long as they cancel before the credit card gets charged next time, they can cancel at any time. And it's convenient for the customer. It really is. There's lots of people who like to have subscriptions, like I said, who just pay so that when they are ready for it, they know what they're doing. They just log on. They don't have to pay. They just find the nanny, put their booking in. That's all they do. Okay. So did I do this? Yeah, I did that one. I had to go back. Okay. So there is better customer retention. If you have someone who's paid you $100 for the month, they're more likely to use your service again in that month. They're not going to use the babysitter down the street or the neighbor or whoever, mom, because they've already paid you for your service. So instead of using you once and then using other people to fill the gaps, they're going to keep coming back to you, and that's a benefit. The more your nannies are working, the more they'll stay with you. We have continuous contact with customers. This kind of goes both ways, but the continued contact with customers is we can send them emails, we can send them updates, we can tell them when their nannies are available, that their favorite nannies are available. We can constantly be in contact with them because they're members currently. It reduces customer acquisition costs because they're staying longer, they're paying more money over time. But we do need strong customer service. And I will talk a little bit to that a little bit later. But having customer service, but it's a different kind of customer service. I went from 5 full-time staff to one who does customer service 5 days a week from 9 to 5. That's it. The rest of it is an FAQ. But again, we will get to that, I promise. Okay, so scalability for growth. So in the past, when you have, if any of you have multiple cities, every time we needed to start a new city, I needed to hire someone to manage that city. So someone in that city to manage that city, to interview nannies, to do anything around that city. Now, all I have to do is change it in the database that we're now open in Edmonton and start recruiting nannies. That's all I have to do. I don't need another staff member. I don't need more customer service to handle it. I just have to change something in the database. It's really easy. You can change the pricing, tiers, and services as you go. So this is where we're adding a $45 a week plan in 2024. We've heard feedback that new clients don't want to pay the $100. They've never used us before. $100 is a lot of money. Fine. So we're going to introduce this $45 1 week plan. We'll test it out, but I really like it again because you can add it pretty easily. And then if it doesn't work, I'll just get rid of it. But I don't know if that one's going to work yet. I'm not sold on it, but that's what people are asking for. So we're going to give it a try. I think we disrupted the market. We're doing something totally different in Canada. We're the only ones doing it. It makes it easy for clients. So I think that's important. We have less staff, which I explained, and we can expand to any city quite easily by just recruiting nannies. So customer satisfaction is worthless. Customer loyalty is priceless. So if we keep providing quality nannies who show up to their appointments, do a good job, that families feel like is, better than Facebook, better than care.com, better than the neighbor teenager, then they're going to keep paying month after month. So these were just some stats from when I first opened, but recurring customers spend 67% more on average than new customers. We're given the opportunity to build loyalty and long-term relationships, and there's the opportunity to interact with the customers more. I know anyone who runs an on-call agency understands the poaching of nannies. So nannies go to a family's home and they're like, why don't you just work for us? And you don't have to work for the agency. But if nannies are getting consistent work because it's busy, they're going to stick with us, who make sure they get paid, pay them for cancellations, pay them if the child's sick and the family doesn't want them to go. So they start to understand that. I'm not naive to think that nobody gets poached. I know nannies take work outside the agency. There's not a lot we can do about that. I'm working on it, but I think it's happened for 20 years. It's going to keep happening. So I don't think it's worse now than it was before. Okay, so this is the big part. So we invested in technology. So I don't use Enginehire, nothing against Enginehire. I hear it's great. Lots of people here use it, obviously. But I developed my own technology for my needs. We automated lots of systems. We automated billing, and we created a help center for nannies and clients. So some of the technology that we use on the back end, because people are always interested, Help Scout. So they're a customer service company, I guess. And so we use them for our email. So we use Gmail. You keep your Gmail and then it gets forwarded to Help Scout. But it makes it really easy if a client emails in and says, how much are your plans, or what happens if a nanny doesn't show up? We have a huge database now of articles, and all you do is link to those articles. So if someone asks a question, you just link to the article because it's already written. You don't have to rewrite it every time. And all of those articles are available on our website in our FAQ section. So if you go to nanniesoncall.com and you go to the parents or the nannies, all the FAQs are there. And what we did in the beginning is every time someone asked a question about the technology, how something worked, how do they do something in the platform, we would answer that question. And now it is like we have so many questions in there, and we continue to do that. So the idea is to have more help online that families can answer every one of their questions. And so we're only open 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. So outside of those hours, they get an automatic response that basically says, check out our FAQs, your answer is probably in there, something like that. So that's one of the technologies we use. We use Twilio for texting, so that's integrated into our system. So the nannies this is a nannies on call decision. You might make a different decision, but nannies and clients can contact each other 3 hours before the appointment. We only do 3 hours because families are a pain in the butt, and they will contact the nanny for every little thing leading up to the appointment 24 hours, a week in advance, whatever it is. So we limit it to 3 hours before and 3 hours after. So if the nanny forgets something, they can be texted. So no one needs to message the agency anymore to say, my nanny's not here. They can message the nanny directly. And then the nanny can say, I'm on my way, I'm 2 minutes out, I'm just parking, whatever it is. So, and we keep a record of that. So Twilio keeps a record, and we can see every interaction between the nanny and the client, which means you don't have to give out the nanny's phone number, and the nanny, we don't have to give the client's phone number. So it's all done behind the scenes. SendGrid, automation of emails. Every confirmation goes automatically. Every cancellation goes automatically. Every change goes automatically. All of this happens without human interaction. We use MailChimp. We started using Journey, something in MailChimp. It's called Journeys. So let's say someone goes in, looks at your booking plans, your memberships, then they abandon cart. We have a journey for after they abandon cart about all the benefits of using our company. And so it goes on for like 7 days or something. So we have all of these things integrated. And then of course I said Stripe. Stripe to me is fantastic. It's super easy to use. And it really gives you a lot of very good metrics that you can follow your churn rate, how much monthly reoccurring revenue you have, anything like that. All the numbers are in there, and you just click a button and you can see it all. So you compare month to month, year to year. It's fantastic. Okay, speaking of churn, so this was just something I found online when I was doing research about doing a membership model. So obviously you have to acquire the client, and then the goal is to keep them in this circle section, upsell, cross-sell, retention, service delivery, and keep them in here. So what I found over the last couple of years is the only way to keep clients is to send good nannies every time, and to have nannies available most of the time. You can't possibly have nannies available all of the time. At Christmas, summer, spring break, we're fully booked. It doesn't matter how many nannies we hire, we will always be fully booked at those times. And so they can't have 100%, but you want it to be very high. So when they log in, nannies apply to their positions and they immediately get placed. And so that's what I found is the best way to keep them in this. And then of course you're going to have some churn. You're going to have churn because people will visit from out of town, their nannies are on vacation, they had a meeting, whatever it is, they only needed you for that month. So I'm okay with that because they use us for a month, they go away for a couple months, they come back for a month. That's what we're here for. So that's totally fine. What we don't want is churn of people who are unhappy with our service. That's what we don't want. So I kind of went over this, but acquire customers, deliver quality, consistent service. So one of the things we added is at the end of every appointment, clients can give feedback, and they can give feedback on the nannies, and the nannies give feedback on the clients. And both the nannies and the clients can see this when they're applying to positions. So if a client makes a booking or an appointment and 3 nannies apply, they can go into each nanny, see what reviews they've had, see what families have said about them, and choose which nanny they're most interested in having come to their home. Nannies can look at the families, look at what past nannies have said about the family, and then choose if they want to take that appointment. If it says 2 rambunctious boys who never stop moving and you're more of a chill nanny, you're not going to take that appointment. And so it's really helpful. They have a lot more information about whether they want to take the appointment or not based on what previous nannies have said. I will say that's one of the things we have kept a human on. So all of those come in automated, but then we have a human scan all of them to make sure there's nothing rude or nasty. We want nannies to provide useful information, not this family's a nightmare, which does happen sometimes. And then also if clients leave a bad review, we want to be able to contact them and say, could you provide more information? What was wrong with this nanny? What happened in the appointment that you were unhappy with? And then we can do follow-up from there. So that is one of the things our customer service people do. Just every morning, it's the first thing they do. They come in and they look at what came in over since yesterday. They only do it once a day, go through all of them, and then they are the ones who click it to post publicly, so it's out there. And then any nannies who start to get so we have a 3 or below rating. So if they have 3 or below, then we just take them off the platform. And again, that helps with delivering consistent, high quality service. So finding ways to upsell. I want to do this. I'm going to be honest, I have yet to do it, but like you could do courses or programs or checklists or different things. Like we have lots of ideas, but we've been trying to solidify how we run the business the way we have in the last year. So we haven't done upsell, but there is that opportunity when you have a subscription business to always be upselling. So we're always looking to reduce churn and retain users, and do it again and again and again. And then the detailed FAQ. Again, this, I wish I had done this in the past, even. This would have saved a lot of time and energy, but the detailed FAQ, just sending people back to there, having the articles already written, not having to say the same thing again and again and again, and just give them the location of where to find the answer for themselves. So the cons of membership model, there's potential for high churn. We talked about that. Subscription fatigue. So I don't know if any of you have done this, but sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm getting charged like hundreds of dollars a month and all these subscriptions. And I will go through it, unsubscribe from everything, and then just resubscribe to the things that I'm interested in. So there is subscription fatigue because there are so many subscriptions and people sign on for free. Like I sign on for the free Instacart one, and then you get charged and you're like, oh, I should have canceled that. And then you cancel. So that kind of thing does happen. It's hard to maintain value when a nanny isn't always available. So that really is our biggest complaint. People calling in and saying, I couldn't get someone. That really depends on where they live, how long in advance they book. If you book in the morning for tonight, it's less likely. Or if you book last night at midnight and expect a nanny at 6 a.m., it's less likely. So those are the people who are usually unhappy. But generally, we try and maintain a big enough pool of nannies to support the clients we have. And then there's less personal contact with the nannies and clients. We take maybe one phone call a week now. We were on the phone. We had 5 people on the phone all day, every day before. We take maybe one call a day now. If it's a client who's upset or really doesn't understand something, we obviously still have a phone number. We don't publicize it. We just give it out if someone needs it. So there is less personal contact with the nannies and clients. I am looking to change that. I'm starting Ask Me Anything Fridays where nannies can log on and literally ask me anything. And so we'll see how that goes if they actually show up. But there are ways to get around that and have better contact, but it's something to remember is you don't have as much contact with these people anymore. Okay, I know I burnt through that really quickly, but membership has its privileges. That's an MX saying. So let me just really quickly see if I can go here so I can just show you. So this is our Nannies on Call website. If you go here, so there's a couple of places. So we have the Babysitting Help Center here. For nannies, we have the Nanny Help Center. And then we have this little icon down here. So if you go here, it shows you questions right away that clients might have. These are HelpScope does this, but these are the most asked questions. And so it shows them that right away. And so if I go to For Parents in the Babysitting Help Center, this is like, as much as the technology on the platform side is important, this has been a huge part of it as well. So how do I pay the nanny? How do I set up appointments? And we've gone through, some of them have videos in them on how to do it. Some of them just have instructions. Whatever it is, it's here. Getting started, how to use the platform, guidelines and expectations. So I find that that's really been a huge help in what we do. I know I went through that really fast, but I wanted to do it in about half an hour. So that was about half an hour. And then I can answer questions that you specifically have about the model and how to make it work. Are there any questions? If not, I can keep talking. I can find things.
So many questions.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, this is awesome. And thank you for being willing to share it with us. I really appreciate it and acknowledge that. So I have been resisting doing a babysitting on-call situation because I just feel like it's going to be so much work for so little money, right? So thank you for addressing like what you went through to get to where it actually becomes lucrative. So a couple of things, and I should have started writing them down.
That's okay.
So first of all, when you do the subscription, and if the family is choosing to pay the $7.97 or whatever it is for the year, are they billed one time per year, or is it broken down?
Nope, they're billed one time per year. It's not
One
broken
time per
down
year.
per month.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
And
they're
yeah,
in it, no refunds.
nope, we do
Period.
not. So that's one thing I should say. We do not give refunds. And so we have, we all have lawyers. We have a very detailed policies and procedures. If someone's really unhappy, what we've started doing is giving a free month. I'd rather give a free month than money back. But I'm sorry, you entered your credit card. There are about 2 click-throughs that you have to go to say, are you sure you want to purchase this? This is reoccurring. This is non-cancelable. People have to take some responsibility for themselves and what they're doing online.
100%. I'm a no refund girl either over here. So I totally honor that. And then when you were talking, so a couple things like if these are on-call nannies, then is there some agreement where like a couple of things, if they had like an agreement between your business and the nanny, and also your business and the client, that if they were to become hired on in a permanent way or a full-time way or more than, an on-call way, does the placement fee then kick in or something like that?
Right. So we have an agreement with the families that says they can't poach our nannies in short terms. We have an agreement with the nannies that they sign, but quite honestly, I am never going to go after a nanny for anything. They don't have the money to pay. I don't think it's fair. The reality is most nannies are just looking for work. So I put it on the family. The one thing I didn't explain is because it's technology based now, the nannies need education on that. So we have a Kajabi course that's free, obviously, that the nannies have to take before they can be put on the platform. So they go through the whole screening process. They're given access to orientation. When they tell us they've done orientation, then we check, because orientation, we have quizzes and stuff in there. So we make sure they passed everything, and then we give them access to the platform. So in there, we educate them on what happens if someone asks you to work outside the agency, what happens if someone wants you to work full time. But what I find is most of the on-call nannies aren't looking for full-time work or part-time work anyway. They like this style. That's what they're looking for. And we do have 2 sides of the business. So if they wanted to, they're probably registered on the other side anyway, and they know they can earn more money, get benefits, all those other things. So, and they will want us to set it up. So it's just education mostly.
Yeah. Perfect. So one of my other questions was how, are these nannies that are doing the candidates, the on-call candidates, are they nannies that are interested in doing extra work, like on the weekends and the evenings? Are they who are the candidates that actually fill the pool? Because I get that's my biggest concern is a client is going to be peeved because they can't find somebody, and I've got a pool, but nobody's available or for whatever reason.
Yeah, so there are a huge range of people, a lot of people going to school, a lot of people who have part-time jobs, a lot of people who work retail but love working with kids, and there's just lots of reasons people do the on-call work, no different than Uber drivers and delivery drivers, those kind of people who pick their own schedule. So now it's this economy where you can pick your own schedule. So they like that. It's those kind of people. Yeah.
And then where do you what is the limit of, if they, if a client needs spring break for an entire week, or a client needs, 2 weeks at winter break, where does it become a placement versus on-call?
So we don't determine that really, but the reality is on call. So in the FAQs, it's like, how many days can I book for? Or how long can I use the service? It is occasional childcare is how we determine it. So if you want to use it for 2 weeks over spring break, you are likely not going to get someone. And we have told you that. You might find a nanny who's off because they're a teacher and they want to take 2 weeks at spring break, but that is not what this is for. And it's in the FAQs. It's on, let's see if I can even find it.
Do you have a separate, then do you have a temp also situation for
we
people
have,
that do need?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we wouldn't do 2 weeks. We do a month at a time minimum.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm going to stop there and let other people.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
We have a couple questions in the chat,
Yeah.
Michelle.
Yeah. Okay, so do you want me to just read them?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Do you pay the nanny or does the family pay the nanny directly? So everything runs through Stripe. We have to have an account in Stripe. The nannies have to sign up for Stripe accounts individually. So technically the money, it never hits our bank account. How about that? It hits our Stripe account. And then the money for them each flows automatically into each nanny. And so the families, at the end of every appointment, the nanny pulls up the platform, they invoice the client immediately receives that invoice. The client is supposed to pay before the nanny leaves, but we're finding they don't always. And we actually implemented an auto charge after 24 hours if they don't pay. So the client can pay right away. There's a spot for a tip in there, and then that goes into the nanny Stripe account. And then the nannies are paid out we have it set up every Friday. You can set it up for every day. We decided to go more like a traditional job where you get paid every Friday. The other benefit is nannies don't get charged as much because every time Stripe sends the money, it's like 2 cents or it's very low. It doesn't add up very fast, but if they're a working nanny who's getting payments every day of the year, it will add up. So we said every Friday. If nannies don't like that, we switch it to every day for them. It's really easy to do. So the client technically pays them directly, but we do not accept cash or check. That is the only way to pay is through the credit card. I would say clients probably like it more than nannies, but because nannies used to get the cash immediately, but clients hated paying cash. They never were happy. Okay, so I absolutely love the subscription model. I tried the model where families had to sign up for a subscription before booking a babysitter. Sorry, another question came in. Before booking a babysitter, but I got some pushback from parents about the first times wanting to try it first. And then for those out-of-town guests who use us for hotels, do you have any insight of how I could offer a one-time fee for first timers before they start a subscription? So that's exactly the question we've been getting for the last year. So a couple of things. When I looked at the numbers from before I switched the subscription model, as much as we thought the Four Seasons and the Fairmont were big clients of ours, they were actually incredibly low down on the number of appointments per year compared to local clients. So although they seem important, revenue-wise, they weren't as important as we were giving them for. Like, they just weren't as important. So so that's why we're introducing this 1 week plan. Some people have suggested a free trial. It's like, I'm sorry, do you offer your services for free ever? No, no one offers their services for free. That's like, okay, gyms maybe. I didn't say it, but I'm in a new apartment, which is why we have zero art on the walls yet. And I just moved last week, and there's lots of gyms around here who offer 1 week free. Well, I'm new to the area. I'm about to try every gym for free for a week, and it'll be months before I have to pay for a membership. So I just don't feel like the nannies wouldn't offer their services for free. We do an incredible amount of work so that those nannies are safe to send into families' homes. And I want to make sure that I'm compensated for that. And I don't think that's unrealistic to be compensated for. So I hear what they're saying about the hotels. That's why we're looking at this $45 1 week membership. It's actually not going to be recurring. And so it'll just be 1 week. So if you need a nanny Friday, Saturday, you would sign up on the Monday, put your appointments in the system, then you get a nanny, and it doesn't charge you again $45 a week after that. That's one way we're looking to combat it. But history for me shows me that the clients who want a cheaper rate are the clients who cause the most problems. The clients who just put their credit card in for $100 and that's not a big deal for them, those are the ones who are the better clients long-term, realistically. So that's why I'm unsure about this $45, but I'm going to try it starting in January. And then I'll let you know. Okay, someone else said, do they pay a booking fee each time or do they just pay? It's just the subscription fee. So I know some of you might be thinking, but if a client uses me 30, 60, 90, 4 times, I would have made more money than the $100. But I did the math in the beginning. I took all the numbers and we are making way more money doing way less work. That is the reality. $100 a month reoccurring is going to make you more money than making that extra $20 because they booked 4 times last month. In the end, it's going to work out in your favor, not the other way. Yeah, I pulled all the numbers from both sites. So, yeah. Yeah, so what percentage comes from on-call versus long-term? We have always been about 50-50. It blows my mind because someone said, like, it's so little money for so much work. And I do agree with that. But our on-call has always been about 50%. I think it goes 45, 50%, and then our placements 50%. I wouldn't believe it if the accountant didn't tell me that, but that's what it is. Okay. Do you have any requirements for your babysitting availability? Do you have folks in your network that are free evenings and weekends? Yeah, so we don't tell them when they need to be available. They have a calendar that they can say, I'm not available during the day, I'm only available evenings and weekends, or they can change it to what they need, and then families can see their availability. I will tell you, families ignore that and just invite every nanny to their appointment, but that's another issue. We require them to take 1 appointment every 90 days. I know it doesn't sound like much, but 1 appointment is better than nothing. And the bigger the pool, they might see something that comes in that appeals to them that's down the block, and then they're going to take 2 appointments. So 1 appointment every 90 days. This is a manual process right now. So every 90 days, we have an assistant who goes in, they look at all the nannies who are on that list. So the system generates a list, and then she will look at, did they go on vacation? Because the nannies can set themselves on vacation, so they're not available. So if they went on vacation for a month, then that's okay. If they sent an email in and said why, or they were sick or had COVID, whatever the reason. So she's looking manually at them. If they haven't truly taken an appointment and there's no reason, or we don't know there's a reason, then she sends them an email and she takes them off the platform. Because we want an up-to-date list of nannies on the platform at all times. We don't want, like, again, care.com, they have nannies on there who've never logged in the last 18 months. They don't care. They just want numbers on their platform. I want an active pool of nannies. So we are constantly taking nannies on and off. If they want to come back because they were dealing with another job, family, whatever, and they email us, then as long as their file is up to date, they can come back. So that's how we deal with that. Do you have limits on when a family can request coverage? I don't know exactly what that means, but if you mean how often or how long, we do not. We have a lot of families ask for overnight care. We have a thing in the help center that says this is not what we do, but it's up to you. So we don't really limit them. They can log on at 1 in the morning for 6 in the morning. And if a nanny's up and sees it, then they might get a nanny for 6 in the morning. That's another huge benefit that we didn't have before. If the call center was closed, it was closed. Now they can book whenever they want.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, that was my question. That was a little unclear. I followed up more.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
just limits on how often or what times of the day they can request, or if they can request a babysitter an hour from now or something like that.
Oh, so I get it. So yes, the platform does have a limit. So you can only request a nanny 4 hours from now. So if you try and request it from 2 hours from now, it doesn't say. We decided 4 hours is enough time if nanny sees it. We don't recommend it. We recommend families book 24 to 48 hours in advance. But I'm shocked, like, this is where human interaction is sometimes a bad thing. So we had a call center with great customer service people for 20 years, like really, really good. But if someone called with 4 hours notice, they'd be like, I don't know, it's going to be hard, we're really busy. And often clients would go away and we wouldn't even try because a human got involved. Now they go to the platform, they book, and they get someone, and no humans involved. If they don't get someone, fine. We've told them it's unlikely in all the material, but they still try and they still are successful. So it's better to take the humans out of it sometimes. Yeah. And then do we have background checks. Yeah, so we do background checks. We use Certain.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know where you are, but yeah. So we have seen an increase in revenue since doing memberships, but I will say our appointments are down. How about that? Let's do it. So we have less appointments, but our revenue is higher. We have less staffing costs too, so our bottom line is higher, but we're doing less appointments. One of the comments from a lot of nannies is that. So we are hearing from not new nannies, right? Nannies from the old, it's always nannies from the old system. I liked it better. Clients are complaining. Well, we feel the work we do is valuable and we feel we deserve to be paid for it. And before, we were just scraping by. Like we always did it and we made large revenues, but the payout to clients, the payout, or sorry, not to clients, the payout to employees, what it took to run it, it was just really expensive. And so I would rather do less appointments and make more money.
Yeah. Like how much increase have you seen since doing memberships?
And I haven't done that number. My year end is just, my year end was just in July and I don't get all my tax stuff till the end of the year from the accountant. So that's when we'll see because I haven't done it long enough. Because when we started, I didn't want to compare it to when we first started ramping up. So this year will be the first year I'll be able to really see. But it's significant. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Who made my website? Well, see, another benefit of COVID. We did it internally. We were closed. We had time. We did it. It's built on Squarespace, so it is. We use a platform. But yeah, we did this internally, which I'm super thankful to. I have a really good team who's been with me a long time, so they knew what to. I just found that they knew what to say better than anyone else who we hired and how to do it. So yeah.
Great job.
Thanks. Well, I actually have very little input, but yeah, the team members did it. Yeah, they did a great job. So marketing, that's a great question. So when I started this, I was a little scared, honestly, of switching from the old model to this model. And I had spent an incredible amount of money because we built our own platform and I was terrified. So I did zero marketing because I didn't want too many people to sign up and too many people to be unhappy. And so I kind of slow rolled the last couple of years into this, got our feet under us, got our systems in place, got all our FAQ set up, and now we're going to start doing marketing because we can't, like, we feel like we're in a better place now to do it. So I think we're going to stick with a lot of social media marketing and Google Ads. So we'll probably be starting that in the next month. We're working towards that now. So Instagram, Facebook, and Google Ads is, I think, where we're going to start. Yeah. And we have a really, if you haven't seen our Instagram, Sylvana, who helps with the website, runs our Instagram, and she does an amazing job. So both Nannies on Call and the Nanny Solution. So we use our Instagram account as well. As I used to do YouTube videos, I took a 6-month sabbatical, so I haven't been doing them. And I just got back in the last month. So I will be doing YouTube videos again. So we use all of those to market.
Yeah, I love your Instagram.
Thanks. Sylvana's great. It's very educational. And that's what we want to be. We want to be experts in the nanny world and really help educate people on the best way, both for nannies and clients. Yeah, that's what we focus on. Oh yeah, so have you seen Hire Number? You asked that, Alejandra. So hang on. We answered that. Oh, so what's your cancellation policy? So the cancellation policy on the client side is 24 hours. So if they cancel with more than 24 hours notice, there are no fees. I mean, they still have to keep their membership. They have to pay the membership fee, but there are no fees to the nannies. Less than 24 hours, they have to pay the nanny 4 hours of the nanny's rate. I didn't say it, but we actually, that's the other thing. We used to have 1 rate for nannies. We now have 3 rates for nannies. An an entry level, a middle level, and a high level. And that's not based on their experience. That's based on their experience with the agency. So the more appointments they take and the more good feedback they get, the more money they make. A lot of nannies who are ECEs or teachers are like, but I have 10 years of experience. I'm like, but you don't have 10 years of experience on this platform. And until you can show up for appointments, you get good feedback, and you take a lot of appointments, then you don't earn more money on the platform. That's how you earn more money. And then when a client cancels, it automatically charges their credit card the fee. That's it, done. Not like we're not involved at all. We don't even see the cancellations. And then on the nanny side, so on the nanny side, it's a little harder because we don't want them to ever cancel, which is what we tell them. But we live in this world and life happens. And so we had given them a 3-strike rule. They can cancel 3 times and then they get taken off the platform. Of course, we're all human. If something really big happens, then we understand. If a nanny works for, like, takes an appointment with a family that's 10 days or has 10 appointments and the first day it's horrible, of course, we let her cancel without taking her off the platform. So, and I say her, we currently have no men. In the past, we've had maybe 1 at a time. Okay, so that's that. I know we're running out of time. So what's your COVID policy? What do you do if a nanny's sick? So if a nanny's sick, they can cancel without, we track it, but they don't get a strike against them. We don't have a COVID policy anymore because it's Canada and the COVID policies are gone. So we follow whatever the health standard is in wherever we are. So whatever, like I'm in BC and we have nannies in Ontario, and during COVID, sometimes the rules were different. We follow whatever the provincial regulations are. That's what we do. How would you explain the nanny selection for the family works for the appointments? Do all the clients see active nannies and select the nanny they want? Okay, so there's 2 ways to book in our system. The first way is to create an appointment as a client and put your appointment out to the nanny pool, which means every nanny can see your appointment. So if you do that, you have the best chance of finding a nanny, right? And then the second way is you invite nannies. So you go through all the nannies that are in the system and you say, oh, that nanny looks perfect for what I'm looking for, and you invite that nanny. The problem is if you invite the one nanny, no one else sees it. So if they're not available at the time you book, then you don't get anyone. But people favorite nannies. So they keep track of the nannies they like, and many, many clients. So one of the things, nannies complain that there aren't that many jobs on the job board, but the reality is most clients are requesting specific nannies, so no one else sees them. So you don't actually know as a nanny how many appointments are on the job board. You only know what you're getting invited to or what you can see. So a lot of clients request the same nannies all the time. So there's 2 ways. Do you have a structure for paying your employees that recruit permanent placements, and also structure working for on-call program? Did you ever at one point use funding loans just to get started with your employees to build a platform? So yes, in Canada during COVID, there was, oh God, I can't even remember what the program is called now, but they gave businesses $60,000 and we only had to pay back $40,000. So I used that $60,000 to build this platform. But I had to pay the government back 40. It's all due by the end of this year is the loan, and it was an interest-free loan. And then do we pay employees that recruit? So yes. We have a couple of options. So the employees that work for Nannies on Call and the Nanny Solution, they, oh my gosh, they get a percentage of the recruiting. So it's not on call though, it's only for placements. We find it really hard to track for on call. I might do that in the future, but I don't do that right now. Sorry, I'm getting really warm after talking for so long and not having a window open. I closed the window because I live downtown now and it's louder outside. Okay, and so yes, we do have a commission structure. And then the other thing we have is a tell a friend. So if a nanny tells a friend about the on-call service and they get hired and work on call, they get a $50 credit. It's all done automatically through Stripe and the platform. So that happens. And on client side, if they recommend a friend and that friend signs up for an account, they each get a month free. So we did all of those things and it all happens automatically. If that answers, I'm trying to go fast. Sorry, everyone. Oh, okay, there. You put it in that's all the questions. So that was the last question. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, there we go.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, so
Is
if there is no more questions, I think that's it.
I think I hit all of them. I tried to talk really fast to try and get it all in because I know it's a much bigger topic than an hour. I understand that. And there's so many, there's so many things to deal with. If you have any specific questions, feel free to email me. I'm just michelle@nanniesOnCall.com.
All right, well, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you, Michelle. This was really great. I know everyone really appreciates you sharing all this information.
No problem. Sorry I talked so fast. I was trying to get it all in.
No, it was great.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you,
Bye.
Michelle.
Bye.
Thank you, Enginehire.
Yeah.
Thank you.